Hey y'all, this is definitely not Merritt's voice today. It is me, Kevin, and we got producer Andrew on. Welcome
Up, y'all?
to episode 38, if I'm not mistaken, 38 for season
Yeah.
2, episode 90 overall. Is that right?
I believe so. I can check the
Yeah, double check
sheet.
that. I think we are making our way closer and closer to episode 100, everyone. Um, right now, so it's just me and Andrew today. For those that don't know, Merritt is hiking his way
Yep.
throughout the entire state of Canada. He is still has service somehow. So Merritt, when you hear this episode, don't laugh at us and don't yell at us because I know you will because you're gonna think we don't know what we're talking about. But I'm excited to have producer Andrew back. He's rocking out here. Um,
Mhm.
and me, I've just been enjoying some time off since it was my birthday this past weekend. And you know, FYI, just to give you a little heads up, we're gonna be coming out with another We Out Here. If you guys saw the Instagram, we added a new segment just for Merritt out here to give us a little spice to our We Out Here episodes. So get excited for that. And I believe you'll see that We Out Here episode at least probably by the end of the week, Andrew, right?
Yeah. This episode should be out around the middle of the week, and then the We Out Here will be out just after it or just before it.
Yeah. So get excited. Make sure you like and comment the episodes. You'll have my sister, Master Philanthropist Geraldine May Cueva, on our episode as well. As she accompanied me to Yankee Stadium to watch the Yankees play the Rangers. And honestly, I picked a good day because thank God the Yankees actually won because they have been sucking ass right now. So, yeah. So we're gonna really basically go through a simple episode. We're gonna give you our jerseys. We're gonna give you talk about some of the news that has come out lately with WVU and the NBA, since that's what's going on right now. And that'll be the episode. This might be the shortest episode ever, but we'll see. Lord only knows I can go on and on forever, and we just make it happen. All right. So, well, first off, Andrew, we're here, and last time we checked, we weren't gonna see you for months. Are we
Yeah.
allowed to tell the people what happened?
So basically, I was supposed to go on study abroad for a number of weeks in Eastern Europe, mostly centered in the Czech Republic. However, there's a group of countries that all signed this international law that says that your passport has to be a certain amount before it expires to enter the country, because basically, like, I guess some people will go on vacation and then their passport expires and then their visa runs out, but they don't have a passport, so they can't leave.
Oh,
um so I was not aware of this at all, which is probably ignorance on my part. And the school did not mention this to anyone. Um, so when I arrived at the airport, I checked in, I checked my bag, and then I got told that I was not authorized to get on the airplane because I wasn't allowed to enter the country. Um, so I had to go get my bags back. I had to get on the phone with the airline. It was like a whole thing. Um, but yeah, I tried to talk to the State Department and get like a 24-hour passport or an emergency passport or something, and they were all booked up. They didn't have any meetings or anything, and they couldn't authorize one to be expedited to me. Um, so, moral of the story is make sure your passport's good for where you want to go. I figured that just being not expired would have been fine, but it's not really the case. So, it is what it is.
yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that they wouldn't have like told you anything about it or whatever.
Yeah,
So, shame
I
on
don't
you,
know.
school, for bugging
Yeah,
that
I
up.
figured it would be like in the like they it mentioned like make sure you have like a non-expired passport, but like it didn't say anything about like dates or anything like that. And I thought it would have said something like on the airline, because if
Right.
you with a lot of airlines, I guess now, if you cancel before your flight takes off, you either get like a partial refund, a full refund, or you get like credit with the airline, and they don't make money on that flight to the degree that they would if you had flown. So I'd imagine they
Mm.
would want you to know. But yeah, it was disappointing and upsetting. But sometimes stuff happens. It'll all be all right.
Yeah, super, super sad. But honestly, we're happy that you're here. You'll get to enjoy the rest of your summer in America. And then hopefully, maybe next year we get you on that trip next year. So
Yeah, I
fingers
hope
crossed
so.
for that one. Yes. All right. So we shall just go ahead and talk about our weekly sports update. First up, shout out to the Denver Nuggets winning the NBA championship. A well-deserved win for the Nuggets. I'm pretty sure I definitely didn't want the Heat to win. So I'm
Yeah.
happy that Jokic got his ring. It was
Yep.
well deserved all the way around. Like, I think people have been sugarcoating the Nuggets and oh, they played this team like that, and oh, the Lakers weren't fully retooled, or oh, the Suns didn't have all their bench players. But at the end of the day, they won the championship, and they
Yep.
need to really put some damn respect on their name because they did it the hard, old fashioned way. They didn't just get a bunch of stars and load them up. They're all home. Majority of them are all homegrown with a couple of key signings.
Yep.
Think about the lineup that they have. Jokic drafted during a damn Taco Bell commercial. You know,
Yep.
Jamal Murray, seventh overall pick. You know, lottery pick in Michael Porter Jr. You're talking Aaron Gordon, a huge, huge, significant uh trade deadline trade to the Nuggets,
Yep.
which was ended up being huge for them in the finals. Him coming up big, making some clutch buckets and clutch rebounds and good defensive movements there. You're talking with great drafting and getting is it Jeff Braun?
I believe his name is Braun, but I don't know if his first name is Jeff.
Yeah. I don't know what
Um,
what the guy from Kansas. Way to
Christian
take it,
Braun,
Christian Braun. Shout out to you, Christian Braun.
who I should say one of the announcers calls him Brown, one of them calls him Braun. So I'm pretty sure it should be Braun, Braun, but
Yeah.
not
Shout
sure.
out to Christian Braun. Great
Went
drafting on
to
the Nuggets
UK.
part there. Yup. And then you're talking about Bruce Brown, a hell of a
Yep.
pickup from the Nets from free agency. Jeff Green bringing some, veteran leadership on that end and coming up clutch, having to have a little bit bigger of a body down there. And just all the way around, just kudos to Nuggets. Any thoughts, Andrew?
Well, yeah, the Nuggets, they've been trying at it for a while. They've always been like one of the big teams, and a lot of people have been saying in recent years, like, do they have what it takes to like actually win the ring? And I think it was good for Jokic in his career to solidify that, and great for Jamal Murray. And I'm glad to see Aaron Gordon do good. He
Me
was living it
too.
up after. He's great. He's actually weirdly, I just want to mention this. I feel like he's been in the NBA like way longer than he has.
You know what it is because we keep forgetting he came into the league when he was only 19. So
Oh
like
yeah.
he was so young. So like he's it says, yeah, Aaron Gordon, like 8 or 9 year veteran, but it's because he's been there for so long.
Yep.
And I honestly think it's justification he gets a ring after he has been
Yeah.
robbed not only once, but twice in the NBA slam dunk contest.
Yeah. Yeah. He deserves some respect. Um yeah, and their coach was going crazy at the parade. I love to see when the coaches go like have fun and stuff. That's always good.
I'm pretty sure, didn't he end up getting a tattoo of the nugget
Yeah.
with the trophy? That's
Yeah.
so badass.
Yeah, I think he might even be like in it himself. Like it might be like him and their mascot or something. It's a cool tattoo. Merritt sent a picture of it to the chat. I know
I
that,
love
but
it. I love it.
it's a
Shout
good
out to
time.
him. And I forgot that, and I'd be wrong if I didn't, shout this man out. He's the only one that had a ring with the Nuggets. But Kentavious Caldwell Pope going out in the crowd and pretending he's freaking Stone Cold Steve Austin and, chugging a beer with a fan. That is so epic.
That was awesome. That was really freaking cool.
Yes. All right. So next up, we have the NBA draft that just happened this past Thursday. So everyone knows Wemby. Oh, hold on. Merritt just commented on our post. Yep,
I
distracting us while recording. Damn it. But
think he knows we're recording now too.
Does he?
Are we talking about it? I think no, well, I think he knows we're recording tonight. I'm not sure if he knows when. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't. We never told him. But what I was gonna say is, we have first overall pick was Wemby overall, number one to the San Antonio Spurs. I mean,
Yep.
probably worst kept secret in the world. And then an NBA draft, super interesting. I was wondering, Andrew, any winners and losers and your thoughts of this draft?
I think the Blazers was good. I think Scoot was a great pickup for them. I think he could have gone second. I wasn't super knowledgeable on this class and stuff, but he seemed like a good comp with Dame, and they worked out together a lot before the draft and stuff. So I think the chemistry is a little bit already built in. And I'm starting to think after a lot of their moves, and especially this draft, that Dame might end up staying in Portland when I thought he was going to get traded. Um, I think the Celtics ran away with some stuff. With the deadline trade and then the trading of the first round pick for 2 second round picks to draft the player that they projected to go in the first round to get
Mm-hmm.
their guy anyway, like that was a good move. Um, but yeah, I think it was an interesting draft overall, but not
Yeah.
I didn't run into any, oh my god, they drafted him. Like
Yeah,
they were all
it's
solid picks for the most part.
super interesting. I would say, I mean, of course, if I'm the Spurs, I'm 100% a winner of this draft. Wemby is a one of a
Yeah,
kind talent.
for
Yes,
sure.
it's a little bit questionable how he's going to handle the pounding of the NBA league, but
Yep.
just think about, I just think about who the Spurs are going to surround him with. They're
Yeah.
literally bringing in three Hall of Famers in Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili all at once to help guide Wemby in his development as a player. And I don't think you can learn from one, not a better coach than Popovich, and then
No,
those
no.
three legends all at once. Like he's gonna work with Tim Duncan every
Yeah.
single day. So
Yeah.
that's gonna
He's
be
working with the greats.
yeah, the greats, and not only just random greats, greats of San Antonio,
Yeah.
like
Oh
people
yeah.
that like. If you're a
Know
Spurs
the
fan, like
system, know the coach, know what he's looking for. Yeah.
yeah, it's
That's
gonna be
yeah.
incredible. I'm excited to see what he does there. And I also say the Blazers as well as winners because in my opinion, I thought Scoot should have been number two because he's a super special player,
Yep.
and I don't know. I just feel maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I just feel like there's just some sort of charisma, something special about him that he's gonna be something that we're gonna be talking about in the future.
For sure. For sure. I think he's definitely got a future. And I also think like as you were saying before, people they're talking about Wemby and like how good he's gonna be. But I think a big thing that we get caught up in around draft time and stuff is like projecting how good players are gonna be and who they're gonna play like when but when we actually don't really know like
100%.
how they're going to fit, who's going to do well, who's not going to do well. Like we just have to see what happens. And so far, I don't think anybody fumbled too bad or anything. And I think a lot of teams got out with good players and good prospects.
Yeah. I would say definitely one per this is not an exact NBA team that's the winner. But I'm gonna go. Oh, it says we only have 9 minutes left.
I'm looking into it right now.
Cool, cool. But I would say one winner that is nobody's really talking about is that league called the Overtime Elite.
Yeah,
That league had both the Thompson brothers drafted in the top five. And who knows? Like, this was one thing that I thought was very, very interesting for this draft. You had four out of the top five picks, all of them didn't go to college.
nope.
And five out of the top 10 didn't go to college. Because you count Scoot, you count Wemby, you count the Thompson brothers, and then Wemby's teammate was drafted by the Pacers seventh.
Yeah,
So I think that's a huge deal because now you're thinking, oh, if I don't really want to go to school, you're gonna go ahead and just Why don't we just go to this overtime league and make some money while we're developing? So I definitely think that is something to take into consideration. Is college basketball going to start losing some stars for people to go play in this overtime elite league? Or are they just going to rather go overseas like Wemby did? And well, Wemby's from France, but I think that's something to think about. Like, yes, college has those NIL deals, but what about these? I think it's just something to think about and look into. I already hear
Yeah.
Merritt yelling in the ear, Kevin, it's not gonna work because college has all these money. You're not gonna stop NIL, but I still think you may not get the elite of elite players because if they really just don't want to go to school, that can be an avenue, and that now
Yeah.
that overtime elite can say, hey, just letting you know, we had two guys in the top five that played in our league that
Yep.
went drafted. Like that's a
Yeah.
big deal. And then
There's a
or they can go play in the G League for the Ignite.
yep.
Like that's like they
Scoot
now have
good.
a person that's
Then
top three.
yeah, there's Euro League too, which is huge. Like I know LaMelo went there, and like Luka and Jokic obviously played there when they were living in Europe before they started playing in the NBA.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's a lot of avenues now to the NBA before and without college. Like it's very interesting to see, and I think college ball will always be a thing.
of course.
But I think as time goes on, not everybody can pay for college. Not everybody wants to try to be the walk on that earns the scholarship. And like there are guys that are going to do that way, and they're going to get their scholarship, or they're not going to get their scholarship, and they might try something else. But it's good to see at basketball being so easily accessed by so many people with such good talent and such good skill.
So we're back out here after some little tech
Brief
difficulties.
technical difficulties.
That would be perfect for us to have an ad. If
Yeah,
somebody would let us have an ad, we could
somebody
put
wants
your
to
ad
sponsor us.
right there.
Yep.
So if anybody wants us to read a little ad about what they do, let us know. You know,
Yeah.
hit us up in the DMs.
Yeah.
So
But of course, Kev, like you were saying, of the top five picks, only one of them went to college
yeah, that is
or like
Brandon
played in
Miller.
college. Yeah, Brandon Miller from Alabama. Victor played in Europe, obviously, a
Hmm.
G League player in Scoot, and then the two Thompson brothers from the Overtime League.
Yeah.
So,
So very interesting. Something to keep in mind that hey, these kids, they have choices now. I think the
yeah,
only other thing that would adjust that would legitimately be if the NBA lower the age back to high schoolers coming out again. But
yeah,
honestly, I I'm okay with them not bringing it down
yeah,
because I think those high schoolers need that year to get seasoned somewhere else. Like I think
yeah,
about when I going back into my days, like Brandon Jennings, he needed that year in Europe to like get a little bit of a wake up call. Yeah, he made some money, got some stuff with Under Armour, but I
yeah,
think he needed that wake up call to play against higher level competition. And I
yeah.
know, like, go ahead.
Some players can totally jump straight from high school into the league, which we've seen players do it um, very successfully. But I think even if there are players that can, it's probably better for the league as a whole to have their players coming in with experience outside of like public or private or prep high school basketball.
Yeah, I think it helps basketball all across the all platforms just be
Yeah.
better. So,
Yep.
you have those guys that want to go to college. They'll be there for a possibly one or done or a two and done. You have those guys that I'm not really into college. Maybe I want to go play against some pros. You have the Euro League. You have the G League Ignite if you want to stay in states. Now you have the overtime league. So I think it'll be interesting to see how much of this is gonna really change the landscape. But I mean, I think it's good for the game because everyone's getting better.
Yeah, of course.
And shout out to the rain coming down hard right now where I am. So if you guys hear rain in the background, my apologies. All right. So shall we move on? Do you want to lead this one off?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull up our talking point. Yeah, so NBA trade time. We've had some big stuff go on. There was. Do we want to go in? And is this the order that we want to do?
Sure, he could.
Cool. So we have Chris Paul, one of the 5 remaining Suns rostered players, get traded to the Warriors for Jordan Poole and draft compensation. Which I think is probably a good thing for them.
Yeah, I mean, see, I thought initially, and we talked about it in our little group chat, Andrew. I thought it was a very interesting trade
Mm.
for the Warriors to go after. So you're thinking Chris Paul. If you were on our podcast last week, he was part of that trade that sent Bradley Beal to
Yep.
Phoenix, and he went to Washington. Chris
Washington, yeah.
Paul goes to Washington, and now he goes to a very guard heavy Golden State team in which they traded a person who probably shouldn't have gotten as big of a contract so soon in Jordan Poole. And then they
Yep.
got some draft compensation to come back. So I definitely think it's the Wizards, they'll get a talented person on their roster that he can maybe develop into a better player, not have as much pressure playing on the Warriors in the Wizards. You have Chris Paul, very interesting with and if you put him and Step together in the backcourt, you have Klay Thompson playing your 3.
Yep.
Then who am I? What do you have? Like
Wiggins.
Kevon Lou? Oh, Wiggins.
4.
Wiggins playing the 4, and then Draymond playing the 5. And who knows
Yeah,
if
or
Draymond's
Draymond and
gonna come
Looney.
back?
Yeah, and we don't know if there's heavy rumors that Draymond's leaving. A lot of people are speculating the Lakers, I've heard.
Yep. I've heard
I've
talks of the Blazers as well.
I've heard the Blazers as well. And weeks ago, like not recently, I heard something about the Celtics, but I didn't really think that was likely. But I'm not sure if that has changed much. We have another trade to talk about and some other stuff going on with them. But I see him going to the Lakers if he goes anywhere. But well, we have to see, I guess.
Yeah, I understand what the dynamic of Chris Paul and Curry. You now have Chris Paul who can do the job of distributing the ball to Curry.
Yep.
Curry can play as a true 2 guard.
Yep.
Now my question is, defensively, that is not the best defensively backcourt. I mean, it's not Chris Paul from early 2000s that you're having in there. It's a much more injury plagued Chris Paul who hasn't played a full season in a while, and truth be told, he's been breaking down during the playoffs the last couple of years.
Yep.
If he wasn't breaking down, I'm pretty sure he'd have a ring by now.
Yeah, the Suns would have had a ring a few years ago if injuries.
I wouldn't think that when he was on the Rockets. When he was on the Rockets, he would have had a ring by now.
Yep. And it's interesting that like the Warriors Rockets rivalry that was going on while Chris was on that team. And now they've brought him with them. And they were going at it when he was on the Clippers. And it's a very interesting trade in that regard. I think it's also important to mention ages. The Warriors know, they've been talking about it, and analysts and people like us who just chat on podcasts have been talking about it. That team is getting older. And we're probably going to see, I would expect that the most recent championship from them will be their last, led by this group. There's possibility, like at the very last years of Curry and Clay's careers, that a younger core might lead something, but this is probably the end of that. And it's an interesting move to pass on what was a very dominant younger player on the team and then became sort of a inconsistency of sorts to get another aging guard that has people been talking about, especially in the last 2 years or so, about how much time does he have left and will this guy ever win a ring?
Yeah, I know. And unless the Suns have something else, I'm sorry, the Warriors have something else up their sleeve that we don't know about, I just think it's a questionable move. But I'm good on talking about the Warriors. Let's go. What's that next trade that we got? on.
We
And I
got
know
the
this.
Marcus Smart three-way trade.
I know. Poor. I'll be honest. When this trade hit the fan, I didn't know what to do. I just looked to
Yeah,
you guys because I was like, I was shocked.
I will be honest. I had a very different reaction than my co-host or our co-host Merritt did. Merritt is heartbroken about this trade, and with all respect, Marcus Smart has been a Celtic since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
He's put his heart and soul on the court for Boston.
Yeah,
Um,
he wanted to retire a
he
Celtic.
wanted, yeah, he wanted to retire in Boston, which I think would have been great. And I think there's also there's a lot of rumors and stuff about the Celtics trading for him in a year or two, or finishing his contract in Memphis and re-signing with Boston or something. And I won't get into that, but I think this is good,
Okay.
and I will miss Marcus, and I will remember Marcus happily, and
Mm-hmm.
I like his legacy in Boston. However, there's I would say there's somewhat of a blockade stopping the Celtics. And I think it's pretty evident when we get to the playoffs. We fall apart. And it happens every game. And it's not really like oh, they always do this. It's just something happens and this team for some reason can't figure it out. And I have always said that I think it's because of Marcus, not because of Marcus specifically, but Marcus is the emotional leader of this team. However, at this point in his career, he might be the worst starter on the court,
Ooh, wow.
which I hate to brag on, to drag him through the mud like that, but and Marcus, of course, he's one of those players where the intangibles matter more than his stats and his numbers. However, he's inconsistent on shooting. He often just throws the ball up, doesn't seem to really regulate the team super
I
awesome.
can't wait to have Merritt hear this, and he's gonna get so mad at you.
He's
But
going to
yo,
get mad at me.
keep going,
But
keep
but
going.
it's I hate to be saying it, but I think it's true. You have you have Jaylen Brown, who's getting a supermax contract, whether he signs with Boston or not. And I'm unsure on what's going to happen there. Jaylen Brown was an all NBA second team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Jason all NBA team first. Wow, I can't speak. First all NBA team.
You're doing great.
One of the top 10, top 5, I would say, players in the league right now. Al Horford, who is statistically the best spot up shooter from 3 in the league. This man does not miss on catch and shoot. You have Robert Williams sometimes starts. He's an absolute monster when he's not injured, and he's very injury ridden. But when he plays and he's healthy, he plays very dominantly. And Marcus is Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion, if Rob had not gotten injured, would have gone to Rob.
Mm.
And then you got guys
As
like
in
Derek
Rob
White.
Williams, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and then you've got guys like Derek White, who also starts sometimes, who's a little bit worse on defense, but his offensive production is better, his passing is better, his playmaking is better. He gets more rebounds. And so I think there's this not tension, but it pulls the team apart when you have your
Okay.
emotional leader who isn't able to mentor the physical abilities of your team. He's an emotional leader, he's a veteran presence, he's great for those things, but he can't keep trying to lead a team from the bottom. And not that he is the worst player on the roster, and not that he doesn't deserve to start, but you can't have you can't have one of the best duos in the league seconding to a guy who's going to brick it off the glass every time. And as much as I love Marcus and I loved watching Marcus play, I've been so surprised the past 2 years that he has continued to start.
Mm.
And I think, as sad as I am to see him go, I think it might be the kick that they need
It
to
makes sense though. You're
really
100% right.
level up
Yeah, and you
Jason and
have to.
Jalen.
You have to.
You can't.
You can't have if you're well, the way I broke it down was definitely sad that he left, but
Yep.
you can, if you're only getting to a certain point every year, you
Yeah.
have to do something.
You have
You
to
know,
switch something up. And I think it might have
yeah.
been a sense of like a training wheel situation where when you
Hmm.
teach a kid to ride the bike, you need the training wheels. You need the guy there to show him how to do it. But
Yeah.
once you can do it without the training wheels, they only make it harder and they only make it more difficult and more annoying. And so if there's a guy who keeps trying to be the boss and the guy in charge and the leader, when you should be defaulting to one of two or three other guys first, that's going to lead to some, I don't even know what you would, animosity, maybe not even like emotional struggle or turmoil between the guys, but you can't keep having two of the best players and one of the best duos in the league following. They need that. You wouldn't have Steph Curry listen to Andre Iguodala this year. You wouldn't.
True.
Although Andre
100%
Iguodala
right.
was very important and great for Steph Curry's career and for their early championship runs, and he's the guy with the death ray from the Martians thing. You wouldn't. He's surpassed him. It's Curry's team. Curry needs to lead that team. And I
Yeah.
think now it's Jalen and Jason's team. And although Marcus, I think there was a way they could have kept him, you can't straight
Hmm.
up tell the guy you can't be in charge anymore. That's not how it works.
Mm.
So as much as I would have loved to see him stay, and I don't think he was detrimental to the team, I do think this opens opportunity to see what it's like if he's not there.
Absolutely. That was very well said, Mr. Andrew. That
I've
was
been thinking
really
about this for
good.
a long time.
I love, yeah. So like the way you said it beautifully. Like you just only get to a point. I think about back in the day. Like I'm going, before you and my time. I'm looking at about the Detroit Pistons. They couldn't beat Larry Bird and the Celtics for so long, and it came down to them trading one of their top scorers in Adrian
Yeah,
Dantley
yeah,
to get the microwave Vinnie Johnson, and then the dynamic between Vinnie Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, and Joe Dumars just
yeah,
worked so much better,
yeah,
which caused the Bad Boy Pistons to win 2 titles until a gentleman by the name of Michael Jeffrey Jordan decided to come to the league and show
yeah,
up. So
yeah.
the
I think
way
it's
it's
yeah.
almost very similar. Almost very similar. You had to make a move. And let's, real quick, let's just make sure we break down this trade. So
Oh yeah.
in this trade, so Marcus Smart was sent to the Grizzlies. The
Yes, Marcus
Celtics,
Smart got sent to the Grizzlies. The Celtics received the
go ahead.
25th overall pick and from this year,
Yep.
which they then traded back for two second rounds. The Golden State
Mhm.
Warriors top 4 protected first round pick next year, and Kristaps Porzingis.
Yes. And then the
Washington
Wizards, go ahead.
got Danilo Gallinari, who I would have loved to see suit up in the Celtics jersey, but he was injured his entire time with us. So I don't see this as a total negative. Center Mike Muscala, who, I mean, I liked him, but he was like our third string, fourth string big. So like I'm not super concerned about that loss. And that's it. Marcus and Memphis gets Marcus. So the Celtics sent away 3 players, got 2 picks, and Kristaps Porzingis. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I've been seeing stuff about Porzingis. He's coming off his best season of his career last year,
Yep.
and I think he's awesome. I've liked him since he was on the Knicks. Um, However, there have been people saying that he wasn't happy being the second option on his previous teams.
Okay.
Now he's going to be the third, possibly the fourth, depending on if they're going to kick out and shoot threes more, or if they're going to pass in. It would really depend on what structure they're going to run. So I'm not 100% sure on how this is going to develop, but I think we're set up amazing to play good team basketball. Like if we center around the 3 of them with JB, JT, and Kristaps, and are able to run that offense well and pass and move the ball around, I think we'll be great. But I think if we settle down into ISO ball, like the Celtics for some reason keep doing at the end of the regular season, we might
Hmm.
get screwed. But yeah, I think it'll be very fun to watch this team play, I think.
Yeah, I'm very curious how they're gonna run with somebody like Chris Stapps because he can take it back to shoot your threes. He can drive it a little bit. He's a little bit taller, so that gives you a bigger body now that you're having the game, other than like Rob Williams and Al Horford's probably gonna retire soon. So
Yeah,
maybe he can learn some pointers from working with Al Horford. But I definitely think I almost think when you look at it, each of the teams got a little bit of something.
yeah,
You got Wizards are getting a bunch of expiring contracts, some draft capital. The Grizzlies are going to be without Ja Morant for 25 games. So I can only see Marcus being, your star and your leader for those games. And now the Celtics are going to mix it up a bit with
yep,
getting another all-star on their team. So now you got three all-stars on their team. So with
yeah,
Chris Stapps, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do. Or whatever else, because I believe, if I remember correctly, free agency starts this Friday.
yeah, I believe so. Yeah. And there's still debates on trades with Brogdon and trades with um Grant, and at one point Pritchard was saying that he wanted to be traded, and I guess now that's been rescinded, but I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen. I also saw somebody, I forget who, somebody on Twitter, I think they were a Sports Center, a Bleacher Report analyst, saying like there's no way Kristaps would have signed without the caveat that they would trade Brown, which I'm hearing a lot before that trade happened, that Brown wouldn't stay with the Celtics. But I don't know. I feel like if you keep this team together, it's going to be expensive. That's for sure. You're going to have to lose some bench pieces or something. But for the most part, I think if they can keep this group together, they're in a really good position for next year.
Yeah, agree. All right. And then what do we got that? What's the last trade? What we got
That
going
last
on?
trade is, I'll let you run with this one because I don't know as much about
Yes.
it, but John Collins to the Jazz.
Yes. John Collins. Honestly, this came up literally yesterday because it came out of nowhere. John Collins got traded to the Jazz. Let me make sure I got the exact trade stuff correctly. Oh, they traded John Collins to the Jazz for veteran Rudy Gay, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and a future second round pick.
Yeah.
So for the cap, Jazz absorb Collins in their cap space, so they don't have to send back equal salary. The Hawks will absorb Gay into a trade exception, and with that, create another 25 million trade exception for possible future trades. But number one, John Collins, I literally feel like for the last 3 or 4 years, I have heard his name being tossed around and that he's going to be traded from Atlanta, and then nothing
Yep.
happens. So I'm just happy that the poor guy is finally traded somewhere, so he doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
And I look at the Wizards as the winners of this trade. I'm sorry, not the Wizards, the Jazz. You have take that lineup. You have Laurie Marketing, All Star
Yep.
this year. You have John Collins paired up in the front court. You have Colin Sexton, young
Yep.
talented guard, and that's going to be a really dynamic group that they have there. They have a lot of good young guys. In I think his name is Kessler. I forgot the other guys' names. Forgive me, I'm drawing a blank. But you're going to run into a nice young roster after they had to give away their star player last
Yeah.
year,
They've also
Donovan
got
Mitchell.
Clarkson,
Yes, my man Jordan Clarkson. Oh my god, how do I forget?
Taylor Hendricks,
Yeah,
Keontae George, Kelly Olynyk. Yeah, this team is pretty deep.
yeah. So
At
like
least they've got bodies. At least I'm not sure
young
about how
guys
good
that are
some of these
not
guys are, but
yeah, young guys that are going to put up numbers, and if they can play within a solid system to their strengths, they can make some noise. So
yeah.
shout out to the
ESPN
Jazz. Go ahead.
is projecting their starting as Colin Sexton at the 1, Clarkson at the 2, Markkinen at the 3, Collins at the 4, and Walker Kessler at the 5. But he's currently injured, so I'm not sure when he'll be back to playing for him, but he's got a minute. to get
I love
healthy.
it. Beautiful. Alrighty. So with that, moving on to other news. So we've been talking about guys transferring out. Alabama senior guard Javon Quinterly entered the transfer portal yesterday.
Yep,
Huge because he is, I believe, a senior this year,
I believe
and
so.
he was one of their leading scorers. Really solid guy. I remember a lot of things talked about him when he was in high school, and I think it just this. I know that we have it as news. I think this is just kind of the norm right now because I think a lot of guys are really trying to see like what they're worth and see how much
Yeah,
money they can get. NIL has really seriously changed the game and the landscape of college sports, especially for the bigger time sports. Because nowadays, like people are like, all right, well, I did what I can at the school. Now let's see how much money I can make. Because if you think about it, and to their point, you are the average life of you being a pro in like the NBA, it's not long for a lot of these sports. You're talking maybe 3 to 4 years max at the end of
yeah,
a rookie contract. So these guys are trying to get that money now, and it's
yeah,
smart, and I respect it. So hopefully, he'll be able to find somewhere that he can go get some NIL money. I know there's a place that's looking for people that need some guards, aka at my alma mater, West Virginia, could use a solid guard. With
yep.
some of the activity they've been having. But do you have any thoughts on Mr. Quinterly, Drew?
Well, I know that he got injured. Um, I believe last year, or
Okay.
the most recent season, but he was playing during March Madness. He played during the tournament.
Yep.
Um, it looked like he played at Villanova and then transferred to Alabama for his sophomore season. Um, he started 12 games sophomore year, 27 games his junior, and then he tore his ACL in last March. And he's been benched for most of this season, but he was included in the tournaments. And he seems to be playing pretty well, but I can't seem to find anything on why he's transferring, except that his relations with the Alabama coaches have soured. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't know. I hope he does well on his new team. I'd like to hear more about what's going on. But I don't know. He seems like I was watching some highlights earlier today, and he seems like he can play pretty well. Um, his shooting percentage is low, but it's college, so I'm not super surprised. But I don't know. Hope he does well. He's
Yeah.
already 24, so I don't know how much longer he's planning on playing in college. I think he's currently technically a graduate player.
Yeah. It has to be. That's a
So
long time already. So if anything, to him, he just
probably got like
maybe
what,
needs
one season, two.
one season to make some money, and then I'd
Yeah,
say that's that. Just in case if he don't doesn't play or doesn't want to play, then he can move on with his life.
yeah,
Alrighty. So now, moving on, we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about some WU sports. Some good news for the football program. We got a
yep,
couple of commitments. We got a commitment from Brandon Reedman, also wide receiver,
yeah.
for
Out of
next
Philadelphia.
class out of Philly, and then commitment from a class of 24 quarterback, Khalil Wilkins. He
Yeah.
committed, I believe, this past weekend, right after
Yes.
he went and did a couple of camps, and
Yep.
then just committed on the spot. And on his post, he said he's 1,000% committed. So that's some good news. We got our quarterback on
Yeah.
the board for 2024. You heard anything else on these guys, Andrew?
I know that Wilkins is a three-star recruit out of Maryland.
Yep.
He was targeted by Boston College. I want to say like Charlotte and Maryland, maybe. Um, and then the other guy's a four-star recruit wide receiver out of Pennsylvania, and he seems like a dog. I was able to find some footage of him, and he seems great. Um, but I'm not sure like how quickly he'll get incorporated, what the next season will look like with these guys. But um, it's definitely good to be getting these young pieces like right out of high school to see if they can like stay and like develop with the team and stuff. But yeah, it seems like good pickups.
Yes. All right. Now, while you got the positive news for WVU football, not really for WVU basketball. I mean, you have some solids, things that happened. So I'm just literally gonna go through it. So this weekend, as West Virginia was trying to go ahead and make their decisions on who they would like to have as their basketball coach, they're doing some searches, they're doing some interviews. A lot of people that were getting interviewed or rumored to be interviewed, you're talking John Beeline, former WVU coach in the early 2000s before Hugs came, also formerly coached Michigan, former coach of the Cleveland Cavs, also was an assistant coach for the Detroit Pistons. You're talking Andy Kennedy, coach at UAB, a Huggins guy who was, taught by Huggins. You had a couple of mid-major guys. I know there was a Division 2 coach there. He was like the head basketball coach for Division 2 basketball. I forgot his name. His name was in the mix. And then a couple other guys that were in the mid majors. So in the midst of that time, three players entered the portal. Uh, Forward Trey Mitchell, guard Kirk Krisa, who was transferred from during the spring from Arizona, and then senior guard Joe Toussaint entered the portal as well.
Yep.
After they entered the portal this past weekend, uh, West Virginia made it official and decided to go internally and hire Josh Eilert
Yep.
as their interim head coach for the 2024 season. So they have him for the year, and then they were going to decide that they're going to reevaluate what the team staff, what's the team's outlook from there. With that decision, Kirk Krisa had went on and took his name out of the portal to return to WVU. But on that same instance, we had center Mo Waggy and center forward James Okonkwo. They entered their names into the transfer portal, and also in which out coming out of yesterday, forward Trey Mitchell decided to commit and sign to the University of Kentucky. Andrew, before I
Yep.
go on my tangents, do you have any thoughts on this?
Um, well, I think Elliott is a good pick. I totally understand and agree with the idea that there's not enough time and that going fully in depth into hiring a new coach is going to take more time than there is before the next season. Um, and I do hope that during this season they're like looking and like talking to people and like figuring it out, and they'll really start like interviews and stuff next afterwards, before the following season. It seems like most of the guys on the team wanted Elliott to be the interim, if not permanent head coach for the
Mhm.
future. But it's sort of a shitty position to be in because it's on one hand, like you expect the guys to like stay with the team and like keep playing and like because they were on like the cusp of something good. But it's also like if a
Yeah.
lot of them are there because of Huggins,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really blame them for being like, well, I'm here because of this guy, and now this guy is gone. So do I stay? Do I go?
Right.
I think it was really honorable to a sense for Krisa to say, you know what, like I'm leaving. And then when they hired a coach, he was like, okay, you know what, this guy still has like what I'm looking for. He's very important in this program. I'll come back and I'll try like we'll try to do it. And I think that's pretty good to see guys like staying and changing their minds, that sort of thing. But it sucks to see those guys go that were a big part of what we were up to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like it's so I have so many thoughts because it's just like Huggins really screwed us,
Yeah.
like royally screwed us doing what he did.
Yep.
Does he need help? Yes, and I talked about that the previous episode. I'm not gonna get into that now because then I'm just gonna sound like a broken record. But it's just so hard because yes, all these kids they wanted the reason part of the reason they came is they were gonna be able to play with a Hall of Fame coach who
Yep.
has helped so many people in the past. And now all of a sudden he's gone. If I were a player, I would probably as well, you know, see what my options are. And
Yeah.
all of them, everybody that's in the portal right now, they have the right to do that, and I respect their decision. It just when I'm looking at it from the fan perspective, it just hurts because it's
Yeah.
just we were on to something super special with the team that we were getting together. And
Yep.
now we're on the verge of it falling apart piece by piece. I'm
Yep.
just happy that we at least got Kirk Creaser back. So he'll be able to come back. I don't know what the outlook of everybody else is. I heard Toussaint has some visits that he's taking to Texas Tech and Kansas State this weekend.
Yep.
Uh, for center the Waggy, he's got a lot of interest from DePaul right now. And I believe one other team from the Big 12. I just forgot who. And then James, man, like he was a budding star that was getting ready to, to spring into prominence. If he didn't get injured last year, he could have been really something special. But I don't know. I just hope that we don't lose any more people. I do know that there are some people that I've been hearing the rumblings of, Jose Perez. He's deleted everything that's associated with West Virginia off his like Twitters and all social media. But also some of these guys that transfer to us, they've kind of maxed out all their ability to transfer. For
Yep.
someone like Jose Perez, if he was trying to transfer, he'd literally have to sit out another year. And
Yeah.
yet you're talking like, are you really willing to sit out another year to
Yeah.
play? Like,
College basketball. Like
yeah, play college basketball. So like guys like a Raekwon Battle, he had the opportunity to leave as well, but I know he said on reports that he's not really trying to go anywhere, which is great.
yeah.
So, but because I think then this is just rumor. I don't know if they're true or not. Those guys that entered the portal, I know there's been rumors that they got a bump in what they were originally making NIL wise.
Yeah.
So with that, I believe that's kind of given those other guys who recently jumped in to be like, hey, if he's getting more, let me see what else I can get. Which,
Yeah.
if I'm that player, I think it's extremely reasonable to see what I would be worth on the
Yeah.
market. And if nobody
If
can match what West Virginia's offering, then I come back.
yeah. And if you're in it not exclusively for money, but if like money is like one of the big reasons that you're doing it, then
Yeah.
yeah, go try to get a bigger bag. Go try to get more money. And if you can't, stay with where you're at. But if you're not trying to get money and it's like just it's a great perk and that you're utilizing and you're like, oh, like I can make money from this, but I'm trying to get better at basketball and I'm trying to get to the league, then I don't know, it makes more sense to me, again, not a college athlete, but it makes more sense to me to stay in the system that you were in that is working. And
Right.
they could completely overhaul it and completely change it now that Huggins is out. But I think if you keep a good core of what we had beforehand, I think you could grab the right guys. It can still work. But I think if all of these guys keep leaving and all the ones that are in the transfer portal sign to other teams and don't withdraw, it'll be interesting to see what happens to this team.
Yeah. I'm definitely curious to see what would happen. I like when I last looked, the only player that's like not that's in the portal right now that West Virginia was looking at is Rutgers senior guard. Um, he played for them. I forgot his name. Maybe Angie, you could find it for me. He averaged 8 points a game, but he was one of Rutgers' better players. They've been looking. WV has been looking at him, but I definitely, it's just gonna be interesting. But I like part of me says, in my opinion, I know
Paul McKaylee.
college. Yes, Paul McKaylee. That's the guy that they're looking at right now. Um, but I also believe like I wish they kind of if they had this feeling that Eilert or somebody internal was gonna be an option, then like why not try and pull the trigger a little bit sooner? I
Yeah.
do know, from talking to our college sources that me and Merritt have, you know, these searches normally take 7 to 9 days if they're trying to fill. But at the same time, if you knew it was going to be Eilert all along, I feel like you should have just kind of pulled the trigger. So be like, hey
Yeah,
guys, this is who's going to be here. He was with you from the beginning. Let's get our
yeah.
names out, but this is what's
Try to
gonna
get some
be.
unity going.
Yeah, so that's my only take on that one. It's a lot of it's gonna be wait and see for 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 Dovey. I'm The next couple weeks are gonna be interesting because I feel like literally every moment if I look at my phone, there's gonna be another person in the damn portal.
Yeah,
So we're just gonna have to just go ahead and move on.
yeah.
But in other news, I want to talk about this. So we got the World Cup coming up, Andrew. One thing that I literally did was looking around while I was just kind of looking for other things for us to talk about. Check this out. So we have WV has one of their players who is an incoming freshman from Morgantown, West Virginia. Her name is Isabella Flanagan, and she's playing in this year's World Cup for the Philippines national team,
Wow.
which is super hype because I'll be honest, you don't get many people that are Filipino and went to West Virginia ever, except for me. So I was hyped to hear about that. She's going to be our
Yeah,
incoming freshman coming in the fall. So anybody watching the World Cup, I'm watching Team Philippines. I believe they're in Group A. See if they can do anything. I'm excited to watch uh Isabella get some game in, and hopefully she puts it on. So she puts it on for the Philippines. He puts it on for WVU. So that was
yeah. It looks
super.
like I was
Go
able
ahead.
to find her. She plays forward. She played on the Philippines U18 team and their U20 team.
Yeah.
Um, she's scored multiple goals. She's
Mhm.
undefeated for the Philippines when she plays. In her
Let's get
first
it.
game, they beat Australia 4-0, and she scored her first goal against Malaysia in a 2-1 win. Um, she represented the Philippines in the 2020 AFC Women's Asian Cup.
I love it.
Um, yeah, yeah, and
It's super exciting.
from Fairmont, West Virginia. So shout
Yep.
out to Isabel.
She's
That's
literally
great.
like she's literally like homegrown from West Virginia and she's
Yeah,
Filipino. Lit.
yeah,
I love it.
that's cool. Yeah,
So if anybody knows Isabella, we need to get her
shout
on
out
this
to her.
podcast because she's Filipino and she goes to WU. I always gotta
Yeah,
make sure I support them.
yeah,
But my last thing that I have, I literally just looked at it when we were just before we were coming on. So Fanatics, the number one sport retailer for all your merch,
yeah.
today is Merch Madness. What the hell is that, you
Uh,
may ask? So Merch Madness, so Fanatics is taking this day in which they're giving away about $20 million worth of team merch, which about rounds out to 300,000 units to 100 different locations and donating it around the country to around 100,000 families.
that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, really, really cool. It's manned up by Michael Rubin, the owner of Fanatics. They've partnered with a
Nice.
lot of different people or all across the country. So in New York, you have guys like Lil Baby, ASAP Ferg, Eli Manning was there, Russell
Oh, that's
Wilson.
awesome.
Down in Miami, you have DJ Khaled giving out products. There's like a whole list. It's all over their stories on all their social media. But the fact that they're going ahead and doing that, it's they call it their Merch Madness. First time they're doing it in history, which is really cool because I mean, shout out to them for like taking care of the communities and
Yeah,
giving people like their favorite sports teams or just giving
yeah,
whatever they can give. So I need to
that's
shout
great.
out them for that. And that's why it's really all I had. So I figured we'd talk about our team apparel. Andrew, what do you got rocking on?
So I don't own a Marcus Smart jersey that fits me anymore. I used to have one when I was in middle school. I had the green with the black letters that they used to wear. Um,
Nice.
but I wanted to wear a jersey to commemorate somebody who got traded. So
Okay.
I'm wearing my CP3, the Valley jersey.
Love it.
I know he's been on the Wizards beforehand. There wasn't enough time to get a Wizard jersey. No, I'm kidding.
That's
But I like Chris Paul. I hope Chris Paul wins a ring eventually. Golden State might be the place. It'll be interesting to see if that happens. I think odds are he'll go somewhere else if he's going to like win the ring. But I don't know. You never. As I've said many times this podcast, you can never bet against Steph Curry. So
very true.
we'll have to see what happens. But I think that team could be good, and I want to see what happens and how they work together. So
Yeah.
repping Chris Paul today.
There you go. So my jersey, rocking one of the Philippines national jerseys that my parents got me when they went to the Philippines. I wore the blue edition a couple episodes ago, so I figured I had to wear the white one today.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing number 6 for the
There we go.
Philippines. Andrew, would you like to take a guess at who this is? He is in the NBA currently, so I'll give you that.
In the NBA currently?
Yes.
Is it how? Wait, give me like an age range.
He's probably in the mid-20s.
Like Jalen Green?
He is Filipino and he should be playing for this team soon. But no. Let's just say this. We talked about him a little bit
Today?
earlier. Yeah.
Clarkson?
Yes, sir. This is
Yeah. I love
Jordan
Jordan Clarkson.
Clarkson's
There we go, Jordan Clarkson.
Filipino national team jersey. I couldn't believe that my parents got it because I was so when they sent me the picture, they only sent me like the top where it just says Filipinas. And I was like, oh, I didn't think they had any numbers. So then when they got home and I unopened it, I was like, oh shit. And then my mom was like, oh, there's names on the back. I don't know if you know them. So one of them, the blue jersey, number 25, is Japeth Aguilar, former Division I player for Western Kentucky. Now just crushing it in the Philippines. And then number 6 having to be Jordan Clarkson, which is fire. This jersey is a 2X Asia size, so it's a large American. So my parents made fun of me so hard because they were like, yeah, there's nothing your size because you're too fucking big. So this is I literally grabbed like the biggest size and like everything they bought me. Yeah. So it's like, well, thanks, mom. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm not small, so. But
I was struggling. I didn't know how many Filipino players I could pull out. I was like, I know, like I had like 3 offhand. I was like, who's
which is
be?
Pretty much that's total. So like, it's literally if you're thinking Filipino players, so Jalen Green, you have Jordan Clarkson, and that's really it right now. And are you gonna look up who else is Filipino in basketball NBA?
Wow. Clarkson and Jalen Green are the first 2 Filipinos to play in the NBA.
Yeah, it's pretty legit.
Doesn't look like any other players are Filipino.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. We need more of them. Basketball is the number 1 sport in the Philippines, so it helps that you got guys like Jordan Clarkson and Jalen Green playing. So
it looks like there's a few in college.
What do you got?
Let's see. I'm getting so many ads. Oh wait. Nate Robinson is Filipino?
No, he's not. There's no way.
Okay, apparently he's 1/8 Filipino. I don't know if that counts. There's a guy on the Hartford Hawks, DJ Mitchell.
Okay.
Which his full name is actually Donovan Mitchell, which is kind of funny. He's from Melbourne, Australia. Kai Clark from Virginia.
Okay, yeah.
Who's from the Ecolos and relocated to Hawaii.
Okay.
And this guy played on the U.S. team, Kamaka Hebe.
Okay.
Hebe. Gerard Lucas on Oregon State.
Okay.
He's Filipino. and Ron Harper Jr. on Rutgers.
Ah, okay.
Oh, and then Josh Pierre Lewis at Temple as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. So we got a
but it
little
looks
couple
like
people.
there's only 2 active people of Filipino descent in the league.
Okay. So then it's just Jalen Green
And Jordan
and
Clarkson.
yeah. Who
I
is
could be
this?
completely wrong. I'm sorry if I'm underrepresenting the Filipino community in the NBA, but according to um, at tonabai.com,
Oh,
which
that's the
looks like
same
it's
thing
a
that I just pulled up.
yeah, and it looks like it's a lot. They have a lot of stuff on here about
Yeah.
Filipino
Because yeah, I do
sports.
remember totally forgot about Ron Harper that
Yeah.
he uh he married a Filipino wife, so that's why
Oh,
he's like Filipino, like half Filipino.
yeah. Ron Harper Jr. would be.
And then yeah, Jalen Green number 2, and then Jordan Clarkson number 1. Amazing.
Yeah.
Shout to Filipinos out here
Shout out to
crushing
the
it.
Filipinos in the NBA.
Yes,
Shout out
yes,
to
yes.
all the people in the NBA.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So that's pretty much what all I had this
I think that's
week.
all we got, folks.
Is there anything else that we need to talk about? Any other sporting news?
Wemby's not playing in the international game, I believe.
Oh yes, I did put that in there too. Totally forgot about that. Yes. Wemby is not playing the FIBA World Cup this summer because he'd like to focus on his rookie season for the NBA,
Yep.
which that France team was gonna get kind of be pretty scary with
Yeah.
it would have had him and Rudy Gobert together. That
Yep.
French team was supposed to be real scary if Wemby ended up playing. But
Yeah. I
one
imagine he
here's
doesn't I imagine he doesn't want something like that happen to Chet to happen, where like
yeah,
he was playing in like auxiliary games and got injured. Yeah. And I wait, we should mention that really quick. Chet plays his rookie season next season.
yo, that's right, Chet.
So like he hasn't we so like I'm sure people will get pissed off and it'll sort of be like another Ben Simmons sort of thing, but like he hasn't played in the NBA yet. So we'll have 2 Kevin Durant body type players in their rookie season with
Oh my
Wemby and
gosh,
Chet
I
next season.
know. God, forgot Chet's another one that needs to like eat a freaking sandwich. My
Yeah,
God, like
right,
it's
bro.
just like
The 2 of them.
it's just like
Like,
get some freaking food in you. God,
I
just
saw a quote with Wemby the other day that was something like, "People keep telling me to gain weight. Why?" And I was like, "Bro, so you don't get absolutely bodied by like LeBron? Like,
no,
what is
no.
he? What is he gonna do when like Joker slams it on him? Like when the Joker comes in on you, like what are you gonna do, bro?
Yeah, Jokic will beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
He's gonna be like, "Hey man, I got 47 points," and
yeah,
like yawn at the same time.
yeah. And like Shaq will come out of retirement just to yam on that man.
Oh my
Like,
God, I wonder if can Shaq still dunk? I wonder if he can still dunk.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I bet you probably, and he'll make Wemby look silly.
Yeah. Oh, he would.
Oh
That would be
my
crazy.
gosh.
We should bring Shaq back. Yeah, he's 7'4" and only weighs 230.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so light. Like where's all that? You know what the thing is also is like those tall guys got to be super careful because like running a basketball is running up and down the floor.
Yeah.
They need to make sure they take care of their knees. I don't know if he's gonna wear like knee pads or something,
Wear
or like
braces.
or
He
yeah, or
weighs
just
less. He weighs less than Kevin Durant, who's
Wemby.
6 inches shorter,
How much does Wemby weigh again?
230, and
I
Kevin
weigh
Durant
more.
weighs
I weigh more than Wemby.
245.
Damn,
Giannis weighs more than Wemby. Giannis is 245 as well. LeBron is 250.
damn. Yo,
Bro,
I'm
these guys are gonna like, I don't even know. Like Giannis is 6'11" and weighs 10 pounds more than seven
God.
four Wembanyama.
Oh my
Like
God. Wemby
this will
needs
be interesting to see how it goes.
Wemby, if you hear us out here, please eat a sandwich or two. So
The
you
Manly Musings
could,
podcast is in support of Wembanyama gaining weight.
yeah, not dude. You don't have to get a lot of weight. Maybe
No,
like
like 15 pounds, 10 pounds.
yeah, a
Start
freshman
there.
15. A freshman
Yeah,
15 would
put on
be
the freshman
perfect.
15. See if you can like just stack up a little bit. All right,
Yeah,
Kev. Well,
we got trivia, right?
we got one last thing, folks, just the trivia, and then
Yep.
we'll be out of here. So,
Yeah.
Kev, my trivia question to you. What NYC concert venue has passed Madison Square Garden to become the highest grossing venue for concerts, family shows, and other events besides and excluding sports?
Okay. It's oh man. Damn. I wanted to say it was MetLife Stadium, but I don't know if it's a big stadium or you're talking about just like more like arenas.
Hmm.
Or is that like gonna ruin the answer?
Well, I will say, isn't MetLife in New Jersey?
It is in New Jersey.
This one is in New York City.
This is in New York City. Okay.
It's in one of the 5 boroughs.
Oh, okay. Did the Barclays Center do it?
Yep.
Really?
Excluding sporting events, the Barclays Center has passed Madison Square Garden in terms of revenue.
That's gonna make Madison Square Garden charge now everybody 30 times more to enter that goddamn building.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Oh
That is
my
entirely
god.
what's going to happen.
Great. Now instead of spending $200 for Nick tickets, it's gonna be like 800 for my
Yeah.
seats. Oh my gosh. Gotta love it. All right. Well, guys, that probably is gonna be one of our shortest episodes ever. Cause yeah, we didn't really have too much. It's summertime. It's hard to talk about, but just some things for you guys to keep an eye out for. So we out here. Kevin's birthday edition at Yankee Stadium is going to be coming out around the end of this week after our podcast.
Yep.
Keep an eye out for that. Merritt and I, first week of July, we're going to be going to a New York Liberty game.
Yep.
Which will be really really fun. And then end of July, I'm also gonna go ahead and see a wrestling event down in the Prudential Center at the Rock. So,
Oh.
well, that's gonna be another We Out Here episode. Then you keep in mind once you get closer to September, the Backyard Brawl is coming, in
Part
which
3.
part 3, in which you got me and Andrew and Merritt and my
A host of other
Mark.
people.
Mark, I think our number one fan, Mark's supposed to be coming with us.
Yep. I think
And
Leland will make up an appearance.
Leland will most likely make an appearance. And then also we'll probably
Cyrus. Right?
Cyrus is a maybe. It all
Cyrus is
depends on
maybe.
his
There's
yeah.
possibility of
There
Cyrus. We'll
is
tease you with the
possibilities.
possibility of Cyrus.
If we get Cyrus to come with us, it will be
That
the
would be
most
amazing.
epic trip ever.
Yeah.
And I can't wait. I definitely feel like I need to possibly buy like a little gimbal to like have while we take videos. So stay tuned for that. We're excited. Our tickets are bought. I'm just waiting for Ticketmaster to process like where our tickets gonna be, but they took the money out of the account already, so
So we'll be getting tickets.
we'll be getting tickets. So that'll be that. And then if there's any updates, I know Merritt and I are working on getting a couple of guests. So stay tuned for that. And
Yep.
then shall I outro us out, Andrew?
Yeah, outro us out, Kev.
All
And
right.
the second installment of Kevin and Andrew take over the podcast.
Yes, that will be out for you guys to watch on our YouTube channel. Which great segue. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
At the Manly Musings Podcast. Leave some comments. I'd like to see other comments other than Cyrus. So please.
I love Cyrus's comments, but we would love to see others. Maybe
Yes.
interact with Cyrus because he's definitely commenting.
Yeah, and I also want to know, like, sometimes Cyrus writes something, but I have no idea what he's referencing in his comments. It's like he's probably watching during the episode, and he's like,
he's commenting
you're
mid
someone
episode,
else,
which is great.
Yeah. So, you have that. You have our YouTube page. Make sure if you want to listen to us on all streaming platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. Google Play, and Amazon Play. Feel free to follow the Instagrams. Podcast Instagram is the Manly Musings Pod. You can follow Andrew at A Millville 56. Follow Merritt's Instagram at Merritt_P. Follow me at KQuaver624. And man, we have 10 open episodes till episode 100, everyone. So stay tuned for that. Me and Merritt got to plan something huge for that one. So just keep an eye out for that. But other than that, gave you a short episode. Enjoy this one. Have a great night, guys. Peace.
Peace, y'all.